All right, fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with black privilege. And in this video here, we're going to be talking about heroism. And what got me on the topic here today, I saw Spider-Man Homecoming recently, and actually sat down. I was going to make a review video talking about my thoughts upon the movie, now that it's been out for a few weeks. But I decided to change things up. I'm going to upload that video on Friday. But this video here, we're going to just talk about heroism as a whole, and what my thoughts on it and what I feel about it, things like that, low-key conversation. Nothing really super in-depth or anything like that. But for me, I got into reading comic books back when I was real young. I've always been the kind of person, even when I was younger, to always want to learn. So like when I was a kid, I used to read like science books, nature books, stuff that most normal kids my age wouldn't be reading. I'm talking about like 6, 7, and 8, that kind of sort of thing. And my dad, he wanted to get me and my brother into reading as children because he, valued reading and things like that. So to try to introduce, that to us early, he picked us up comic books and just gave us comic books, and then that got both me and him into reading comic books. I'm more of the Marvel guy in my family. Been reading Marvel since like the late 80s, early 90s. Also been watching all the cartoons since that time. So too, my older brother is more into like DC, Batman, Superman, that kind of sort of thing. I've got you in and my stance on heroism is this: like, even in real life, I'm a moral person. I do my own thing. I don't talk to shit about nobody. I don't get in arguments with people. I don't cuss people out. My stance is pretty much, I just do me. And if you don't like me, well, fuck you. It is what it is. I don't have to like you, and you don't have to like me. It's not the end of my world, trust me. But heroism is something that, even when it comes to real life, like I said, I'm a moral person. So I can agree with a lot of the stances behind heroism and why superheroes like to stop bad guys and why people don't kill and that kind of sort of thing, right? But I'm also one of those people who I do feel that sometimes it's necessary. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love and I hate Batman comics. Batman comics, well, I can't say for those of you who don't know, but everybody knows who Batman is. Most of the time, his whole policy behind things is, no, I don't kill people. And I can understand that. I can admire that. That's the whole point. It's like he's holding himself to a higher standard, so that's why he, I can be good enough not to kill. That's his whole thing. But I don't agree with it. Not at all. Not even in the slightest. Like I said, I can admire it, but I really don't agree with it. 9 times out of 10, when he catches bad guys, takes them back to Arkham Asylum or wherever, and they end up breaking out again and killing more people, just as an example, the Joker. He'll lock him up one comic book, and then like the next time they had to do a storyline with the Joker, oh, he broke out of Arkham and killed like another couple thousand people with Joker gas or something. And that's my problem with it. It's like, I've always liked the Punisher's aspect of it. Granted, the Punisher's kind of like a little bit too much, but as far as, killing bad guys, you're a criminal or whatever, then, putting you in the dirt. That's the way it is. But I think the Punisher does it a little bit too much. Where I think my line is probably why I like reading X-Men comics so much. Like, my biggest villain is probably Magneto. And that's probably why I like villains in general when it comes to certain villains, more so than, let's say, heroes like Spider-Man and Superman and Batman, is because villains, or at least in Magneto's case, than in most of Marvel's villains. DC's villains, not really so much that I've seen, although they got a few too. But Magneto, for instance, he's a villain in the aspect where he will kill people, but his resolve and motivations behind it are justifiable. It's the same thing, like if let's say, throw reality out the window, let's say white people wanted to enslave black people again. and they started hanging people in front yards, you know, on wholesale, you know, like mass killings all over the place. I would be one of those people. I wouldn't be like Martin Luther King and be like, oh, you know, we should try to convince them. Otherwise, I'm gonna be like, no, kill those white people. You know, that's just me. You know, like I said, I can understand that motivation. I can admire being better, like Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and all of that. Don't get me wrong, I really can. But I don't think that's the world that we live in. That's not the reality of it. You know, words, I mean, that's not going to stop somebody if they was trying to kill you in real life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might. I'm not going to say it's impossible. But the chances of somebody still trying to kill you versus you talking them down is very, very slim, YouTube. It's very, very slim. Like, for instance, I like heroes, let's say, like, probably like Wolverine, Iron Man. I can admire old school Captain America, but I like Ultimate Captain America a little bit better. And the reason why those characters, they don't like to kill, you know, but if they don't have no other options, or if they're, you know, put in a situation where like the person just won't stand down or they can't just beat them, then they'll kill them. And in that's like a soldier's mentality, I guess. And that's, you know, that's what I normally agree with. It's one of those things where it's hard to be a good person and then try to justify that. But I think that's more realistic than just, oh, I'm going to save everybody and don't kill people and we're going to stop the bad guy without no repercussions. That's bullshit. That's not the way the world works, YouTube. It really isn't. And I just think that, like, you know, Batman's whole mentality on it, it's a patchwork effort at best. You know, you're not stopping anything. You're not even prolonging it. You know, like, I don't understand why reading Batman comic books, and that's probably why they never fully explain it. Why are the criminals afraid of Batman in Gotham? You know, everybody knows he doesn't kill because obviously people would talk. So yeah, he may break your bones, he may hospitalize you, whatever, but he's not killing you. You know, he's not just going around killing people. Like, I love the whole Red Hood thing when they brought back Jason Todd and he was going around like, look, I'm gonna kill criminals from the inside out. I like that about, you know, I like that aspect because it was like proving that aspect to Batman. You know what I'm saying? Batman's idealism is gonna be his downfall, because like when he first fought Deathstroke for the first time, for those of you who don't know, Deathstroke whooped that ass. Like, you would expect Batman, oh, it's Batman, he's the best of the best, but no. When you're fighting somebody who's on a similar skill level, and I swear to God, I love that comic book. Deathstroke actually told this to him after he whooped Batman's ass. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he just whooped Batman's ass and that was it. He explained, like, it was one of the hardest fights he ever had to do, but the only reason he won is because he was willing to kill Batman in the fight, whereas Batman wasn't willing to kill him. So subconsciously, he was holding himself back. And that, you know, that slim margin allowed Slade to beat, you know, Bruce Wayne. And that's understandable. You know, it's like, you can't, you know, be a hero and, like, what do you do in a hero's, you know, situation where, let's say, you have to kill your bad guy or he's going to kill thousands of people? What do you do? You know, honestly, what do you do? Do you not kill him and let thousands of people suffer? Or do you just magically find a way for no specific reason? You know, and they like to do that in comic books a lot. Probably, you know, way more back in the day. But even with certain things, like probably, let's say before the 2000s, like with Superman, for instance. Superman, you know, is the old school superhero archetype. I'm going to save everybody, do the right thing. You know, it's where they basically, I'm not going to say ripped, but they ripped Captain America's personality. He's the same way. And like I said, I can admire that. I can understand, you know, why I admire that. I want to be like that, you know. But like I said, that's not the world that's realistic to me. And coming into adulthood, it's one of those things. It's like, I guess, you know, as a kid, okay, you know, do the right thing, don't hurt people, whatever. That instills values. But in my adulthood, I'm like, fuck that. That's nowhere near realistic, you know. Because like I said, what if you're put in that position? Take the same thing like cops, for instance. Cops who have to shoot bad guys. You have somebody holding hostages. let's say somebody robs a bank. He has a bunch of hostages in there, and let's say he's gonna start killing people. You know, and let's say, you know, you try to talk him down, it ain't working, and he's putting you in that position where you have to either try to take him out or have him kill people. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I guess you can go in there, you know, non-lethal and try to take him out. Maybe he might kill people, maybe he won't, because then you gotta justify, like, okay, well, he might kill the hostages if you don't put him down quick, and non-lethal means don't really put people down quick sometimes. Or do you go in non-lethal and have him shoot one of the police officers and kill them? So I think it's like, that's kind of fucked up to put yourself in that kind of position. And it's one of those things where it's like, that's why I think that's more realistic of them just killing the bad guys than, let's say, not killing the bad guys. Or if, let's say, supervillains had better motivations, let's say like Magneto. His motivations for doing what he does, granted, it's to the extreme. I think if I had, you know, like if I just suddenly developed mutant powers, you know, let's say like if I just, you know, woke up tomorrow with superpowers, I think the first thing I would do, well, granted, I mean, I would define my superpowers. Like if I had the ability, if I had to suddenly pick, I'd probably pick something that's be right back. Probably not too powerful. Meaning something I can control. I don't want to wake up tomorrow as like some cosmic level reality altering mutant, because the world would be a fucked up place. You know, because I mean, I might daydream and there you go, some real shit might happen. I might jump off and kill a bunch of people. I don't want that, YouTube. So I think I would want like personal power. Like I would be strong, but at the same time, I don't want to be too strong where you know, I can't hide my ability. Let's say like, oh, I don't want to be like Nightcrawler and look all deformed and stuff, because then, you know, I mean, human races, like, we're racist against each other for being black, white, and brown. What you think blue gonna do to somebody? You know, I'd probably have everybody try to kill me. But I'd probably pick something low-key. Like, I would probably pick, like, if, probably something like the 𝐥𝐤𝐤 armor. Something that's, like, incredibly versatile. Makes me immortal. I don't have to live by the normal things that people have to live by, meaning, like, I'm not limited by my environment. I don't have to breathe air. You know what I'm saying? I don't age. You know, I get the power to manipulate gravity. You know, so that's a really big one, because then I can do pretty much damn near anything I wanted. It protects me, you know, whether I want it to or not, and it's something I can hide and, you know, without nobody knowing I have it except me. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's one of those things where if I had superpowers, I would have that. And if Magneto and, let's say, the X-Men were real, I'd probably join up with the Brotherhood, you know? As long as Magneto wasn't like, oh, let me just wipe out 2 million, you know, Homo sapiens just cause, you know? I'd probably be cool with him. I mean, as long as we played like the defensive game, like only attack people who, let's say, attacked us. Or, if, let's say, like, Homo sapiens, you know, had mutants locked up somewhere and we were going to free them or something like that. Or if they killed a town and we had to go kill a town back, that's something I would be cool with, YouTube. That's justifiable to me. As long as it's justifiable in my heart, I can, you know, agree with the heroism behind that. That's probably why, even in comic books and even in anime, I love anti-heroes, because I find them more realistic and more believable. Granted, a lot of times in comic books, like I was saying before, they take that to the extreme. I think you have to draw a line somewhere. I think you have to have, like, your own set of restrictions and rules upon yourself, because otherwise you'll be like Carnage and the Joker and you'll just be killing off anybody for any reason. And I think if you get too chaotic, it's going to eventually make you flip out and go crazy and, you know, things like that. So I wouldn't want that. But that's why, like, I've never liked the Joker really like that. I don't understand his character at all. I can't get behind nothing he does. And granted, I mean, if that's the point of his character, why doesn't Batman beat him every time they fight? That doesn't make sense. How can Batman, and that's another reason why I don't like Batman comic books all that much. The Joker will go up and fight Batman, and Batman's supposed to be like the greatest hand-to-hand fighter in all of DC, and he's like the greatest superhuman type, you know, humanistic character ever, and know all these martial arts, all these sciences, to be as educated as he is. Why does he get his ass beat by the Joker? And I'm waiting for somebody in the comments to be like, oh, the Joker's, he's unpredictable. You never know what he's going to do. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because if Batman is that good, he should be able to plan for every consistency, every outcome, everything that the Joker might do. And the Joker being the way he is, granted, I can understand being unpredictable, but being on Batman's side of things, the Joker shouldn't be able to outthink Batman. And by Batman being super trained in like every version of martial art that ever existed on Earth or whatever you know his skills are these days, the Joker shouldn't be able to outfight him in any stretch of the word. I'm talking about with weapons, with guns, with machinery, with tech. Hell, the Joker is just for the most part a guy in a suit 9 times out of 10. Yeah, he may have his Joker gas. Yeah, he may have his little electric buzzers and a lot of that stuff and a lot of that weird creepy stuff that he does behind the scenes. And yeah, he's cruel as hell, don't get me wrong, but somebody who isn't trained like Batman should not be able to fight Batman. That's what I'm trying to say. Like Deathstroke can fight Batman. He is somebody who is just as good. The Joker, no. Half of Batman's rogue gallery should not be a problem. You know, Joker, Penguin,
make mistakes.
No, Clayface will definitely be a problem because he has actual powers. Scarecrow to an extent. As long as he could put that fear gas on Batman, you know, who knows what Batman might see or might believe. So, but in the comic books, he's powered through that before, so he should be able to power through it all the time. But a lot of Batman's like bad guys, they're all just people, you know, and that's something I don't understand. It's like, why is Batman in his comic books fighting against regular people and having problems if he's like the greatest person ever in the history of mankind? Doesn't make any sense. But I mean, hell, he should be fighting superpowered people 9 times out of 10. You know, because then it builds the argument. Well, he's trained himself well enough to be strong, you know, to be as strong as some of the people he's faced. So every fight should be like, how can I overcome this guy with powers? You know, versus me just fighting, oh, the Joker, I don't know what he's planning. Let me find him and stop him. You know, that seems kind of, you know, redundant after a while, you know. And in, let's say, Superman's case, you have the opposite. Superman has all of this power. You know what I'm saying? He has all of his abilities, all of his strengths and weaknesses. But like I said, he also has that weakness to kryptonite. So, at least with him, his bad guys, I would assume, would have to find a way to use kryptonite against him to, you know, make Superman overcome whatever that limitation is. He has more of a limitation than Batman does. In other people's cases, let's say take Spider-Man, he's fighting underpowered people most of the time too, but he also fights people with powers. Spider-Man is probably the one hero that fights people on both sides of the scale, and throughout most of his publication history, his fights are an upscale battle. Granted, they overpower him a lot of the times, and then they show him fighting stronger people, and I don't think that's realistic at all. Like sometimes, like he fought Iron Man a couple times, and in 1 minute he's punching Tony Stark, and Tony Stark's armor is getting damaged. But yet, if you read Iron Man's comic books, his armor could tank nukes. So it's like, you know, is Spider-Man's punching as strong as nukes? Hell no. Spider-Man isn't even as strong as Iron Man to begin with. Like, if they had to throw punches together, Iron Man will whoop that ass. Even with all of his spider abilities, and, you know, maybe his spider sense will probably be like his one thing that may try to come back. But strength versus strength, Iron Man lifts like, you know, he's in a couple 100 tons. Where Spider-Man's like, oh, let me lift this subway car. That's the most I can do. You know what I'm saying? So he's just far too weak for that. But other heroes, like Spider-Man's stance on not killing or heroism, it's something where, like I said, it's more along the lines of like the Batman thing with the no killing and things like that. And I just think that given certain situations, or you putting somebody in a certain position, that's just not realistic. I mean, you can't win every battle. You know what I'm saying? You can't win every battle and not kill people. I mean, otherwise wars wouldn't be as bloody as they are. And just to me personally, given the reason, like if it were me, given the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, let's say like I said before, if I was, joining the Brotherhood for with Magneto, my reason behind that would have to be there. I'm not just going to be a bad guy just for the sake of being a bad guy. But if you had justifiable reasons, I see no reason why not to kill people. That's just me. Like I was reading a story earlier today, and I don't know if it's 100% true or not. I didn't do my research as far as the story. I just read the story, and I think it's true. But like I said, I don't know for sure. But it was basically about, it was like a Waco, Texas. I think it was Waco, Texas, back in the day. Let's say like 1800s, early 1900s, something like that. Right? This isn't nothing new. But I don't know if it was a black guy or this Native American guy was accused of raping this white lady in Waco, Texas, right? And what they did was, I don't know if he did it or not. So I mean, I don't want to say it's justified one way or the other. Given how things were back in the day, I'm gonna assume he didn't do it because black people and races outside of white people got blamed for that shit like all the time when they didn't do it. But it was one of those situations where they convicted him right there on the spot, drug his body out to like the center of town, castrated him, cut off a couple of his limbs, mutilated his body, and then burned him at a fire, like a funeral pyre, or like burned him at the stake, like they do witches. But the difference with what this is, they didn't just burn him until they killed him. They kept raising and lowering his body every few minutes, so his body, so he didn't just cook, burn to death, and die. So he suffered for like a few hours. Then after he died and they burned his body, they drug his body throughout town, celebrating it, and then cut off portions of his body and sold them as souvenirs. And I'm sorry, like if I was, let's say, black during that time, or black during, well, I can't say I'm not black, but if I was, let's say, black during when black people were marching and segregation and stuff, like back in the early 60s and 50s and stuff like that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be on the side of not Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I'd be with Malcolm X and all those other militant black people and stuff, because it's like I can understand getting my revenge on somebody a whole lot easier than just, oh, let me turn the other cheek and pretend like this shit this shit didn't happen. Fuck that. Nah. But anyway, YouTube, that's just my thoughts on heroism and I guess the line between, killing and not killing people. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Be on the lookout for my Spider-Man Homecoming video, probably Friday afternoon. I'll probably upload that. But anyways, guys, my name is Denonu, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.